Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your July 2021 general readings. We're looking at the first 2 weeks of July from the 1st to the 15th, and this reading is for the fire sign of Sagittarius. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all doing well, safe, healthy, blessed wherever you are. Thanks for taking the time to watch these videos, for all that you do in support of my YouTube channel. Like, sharing, hitting that subscribe button, donations, comments, feedbacks, reaching out for personal readings. Every bit helps, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Many blessings. So this reading is for Sagittarius for the first 2 weeks of July 2021. That's if your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign is in Sagittarius. It's also relevant if you're cross-watching for a Sagittarian. Of course, it's going to resonate a little differently for everyone. It is a general reading. So watch all of your signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, for additional insight and perspectives. And if any of it resonates with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, maybe take a deeper look at something for yourself or as a gift for someone else, you can click on the description link, that little arrow below, which will show you contact details, my email address, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. Please feel free to email me directly. I can usually respond within the same day with more information. I do offer a pretty wide variety of choices of readings, and I work full-time at this. I do readings full-time. It's all that I do, so I'm pretty diligent about scheduling in a timely way. So email me. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Okay, Sagittarius. Let's see what the first 2 weeks of July have in store for you. I am using the Deviant Moon Tarot and clarifying with the Radiant Rider-Waite. I recently returned from spending some time in the French Quarter in New Orleans. So of course I had to buy some great tarot decks there. The Deviant Moon, here's the box for it. The artwork is kind of strange and bizarre, but beautiful in a way. I was quite drawn to it, even though my tongue wants to say that the Demented Moon Tarot instead of the Deviant Moon Tarot because of the artwork, but it's quite extraordinary. Really liking this deck. Okay, Sagittarius. Enough chatter, let's get on with it. All right, Sagittarius, we begin with the Fool. Followed by the Lovers. The Seven of Swords. With the Ten of Swords. And the Nine of Swords in the reverse. This is what it looks like in the upright, but it came out in the reverse, which I actually like seeing this card in reverse. It's releasing anxiety and stress and fear about the future. With the World, moving on. From the bottom of the deck, for overall energy and focus for the first 2 weeks of July, we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, Sagittarius. Overall energy, Five of Pentacles. Insufficiency and lack. Something is not enough. You're in need. It might be financial and material need. It might be on an emotional level feeling shut out, abandoned, rejected, not good enough, needing to beg, being in the position of having to beg for what you need, what you want. Well, it definitely looks like a relationship that's either in a fair amount of distress or is in the process of ending or has ended, and you're still feeling the emotions from it. We do have the Fool and the Lovers, which can represent that quite literally you feel like a fool. Or because of someone kind of going off like a fool or going off quite suddenly on a brand new journey, taking a step off the beaten path, moving forwards. You know, this is affecting the life and future life of a relationship, which is what the Lovers represents. The Lovers represents being at a crossroads in a relationship and some kind of decision, choice, action needs to happen that will decide the future of this relationship, or the lack of the future of this relationship. With a Fool, it can represent just, you know, you and your partner kind of going off on a brand new journey, starting something new, you know, quitting your jobs and moving to, you know, the wilderness or something. However, that's not what I feel it is here, because there's like heartache and betrayal and feeling shut out and feeling rejected and feeling not good enough here. And I'm particularly drawn to the two cards right in the center here, which is the Seven of Swords, clarified by the Ten of Swords. The Seven of Swords, so the Ten of Swords is a card traditionally associated with betrayal, being stabbed with 10 swords. Most tarot decks depict it as being stabbed in the back, meaning you don't see it coming. Here, he's being stabbed everywhere. Maybe you did have some clue or knowledge or intuition about it. It's a card that represents the end, because of feeling betrayed, completely taken advantage of, stabbed in the back, thrown under the bus. But it's clarifying the Seven of Swords, which is a card of concealment, deception, keeping something hidden off the grid. My sneaky thief card, although it doesn't really have to be negative, but here, of course, it is. It's heartache and betrayal and feeling completely thrown under the bus because something was hidden from you. Somebody was sneaky or deceptive. We'll clarify. But even though there's a fair amount of pain here, it does clarify things for you and allow you to move on, because while some of you in this situation may decide to stay with a person, or they may decide to stay with you, I think for most of you, they may even have left you, maybe for another person, because we do have the Lovers. Sometimes the Lovers represents a choice needing to be made between two people. The Fool could represent that it's a foolish choice. I don't like the Fool with the rest of these cards, because it feels like the Fool here quite literally represents somebody doing something quite foolish without thinking of the consequences, with a total lack of consequential thinking, jumping before you actually know that the water's deep enough to kind of hold you, right? But it does, you know, and I have to say there's some implication here that you may have felt this coming, or may have sensed this coming, or something like that, because we do have the Nine of Swords in the reverse. Now, in the upright position, and the fact that a card shows up at all, even in the reverse, represents the energies there, but you interpret it in a different way. So in the upright position, the Nine of Swords is stress, anxiety, worry, fear, insomnia, and it's usually about how something's going to turn out or how it's not going to turn out. Fear of an unknown future. You're thinking about it too much, obsessively worrying about it. It's almost always like the worst possible outcome, right? It's fear of the future, which does imply that there was some underlying stuff going on before this that you were feeling or picking up on. So in the reverse, this is actually, especially with the World card, which is quite positive, this is actually being able to, you know exactly what's going on, and you're able to let go of, you know, the fear of an unknown future, because, you know, this is revealed, right? And it is something that allows you to move on in a pretty final way, because it's with the World. The World's the last major arcana card in the tarot. This is where the Fool's journey ends. We start with the first major arcana card in the tarot, the Fool, he's the 0, and we end with the World. His journey is done, and it's a card of graduation. It's not a card of death. It's a card of graduation, although death just represents endings, right? So we don't go back and repeat grades. We've graduated, right? So this is about, I've learned everything I can learn. I've done everything that I can't get anything else more out of this. This, as painful as it is, allows me to stop worrying about what's going to happen, because it's happened. And it allows me to move on and level up. Because the World is a card of graduation. You've reached the top of the mountain, and now you're surveying a whole new landscape, a whole new vista, and a whole new array of options, opportunities. It just looks like a painful path of having gotten you there, getting you there. So let's clarify that. Let's clarify the Five of Pentacles as overall energy. Why are you feeling insufficient, in need, in lack, shut out, abandoned, rejected, not good enough? Like a beggar out in the cold. Creeping around looking for what scraps you can find. while someone who's on the inside and has everything they need is watching you. Because of the Fool. Yep. So that's kind of what I thought in the beginning. The Fool here literally means somebody did something with no consequential thinking. They did something without thinking of the repercussions that it was going to have or what was going to happen because of it. And it might be you that did this. Maybe you just made a great big huge mistake. I mean, first and foremost, I usually read general readings and personal readings as what's coming in to affect the person, what's happening to affect the person. So for most of you, this is something somebody else did. But for some of you, it might have been like you just kind of made a big mistake without really thinking about it, right? But somebody was, kind of an idiot. The Three of Pentacles might be a third-party situation. We also have the Three of Wands, which normally would be a positive card, and the Fool. This may have been a third-party situation. The Hierophant. The Hierophant with the Five of Pentacles. This is being shut out by something that is solid, stable, reliable. The Hierophant is convention, tradition, establishment. This might not be a romantic situation. It could be best friends in a social circle or a community, a particular community you belong to. But the Five of Pentacles usually shows some artistic representation of a person that's on the outside of a church or a cathedral or some institution that on the inside you can tell there's light in there and warmth and people and food and camaraderie and all of that kind of stuff, but you're on the outside in the snow and the rain and the dark. So this is like being shut out of some kind of conventional thing. But the Hierophant can also represent marriage or a long-term stable relationship or marriage. So somebody did something quite foolish, and because of that, something which was stable and secure is now not, and they're on the outside of that. Again, it could be a marriage, a relationship, it could be a church, it could be a group, a community group of some kind, a circle of friends, a long-time circle of friends. There's definitely pretty much a central relationship here. There is some indication that because of what one person did without really thinking of the ramifications, either they or you are kind of left out in the cold, and what they did have access to, they no longer do. I'm not going to clarify the Fool and the Lovers because it's quite clear here. I am going to clarify the Lovers, actually, because it's a relationship at a crossroads. Why is the Lovers here? Because the Lovers is clarifying the Fool. So there was a choice represented by the Fool that was made or that affected this relationship. The Knight of Wands. The Player in Love and Romance. Somebody went off very quickly. I do not like the combination of the Fool and the Knight of Wands and anything to do with established relationships, because it represents somebody taking off, doing something very quickly in a very foolhardy sort of way, again without thinking of the consequences, because Knights are known for just rushing off. A mission, a quest, dun 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 dun, charge, and they're off and running, right? They always have an eye on the next thing. They're not known for coming and staying. The Eight of Cups. Somebody left really quickly. Somebody left, they went after something really quickly. They saw the shiny thing or whatever it was, and they left really quickly. Gosh, the Knight of Swords, really quickly. The Page of Cups, flirtatious energy. In a love and romance relationship, this looks like somebody who felt an instant attraction to somebody else and just decided to blow the world up for it. Again, might not be love and romance. Somebody made a decision and acted on it, like quickly, spontaneously, impulsively. Might be with a third-party situation. Let's clarify the source of the betrayal, or what that was about. Ten of Swords, which is clarifying the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is deception, which caused betrayal. What's that about? The Two of Cups, soulmate, kindred spirits, best friends. The Six of Cups, a card typically associated with historical connections, old friends, old lovers, family, childhood, roots of origin, looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. Again, there's a few different scenarios here because it's a general reading. The energy fundamentally remains the same. Somebody did something very impulsively and very quickly. It may be that somebody went off to be with someone from their past. It could be that Mercury is in retrograde, right? It could be that what in fact was betrayed, which is another aspect of this, was a relationship that was solid, that was true, that was established, and that is broken. That trust is broken. It's not to say that all relationships that go through this are done or over. There have been many successful renewals and reconciliations in a relationship where there's been perhaps infidelity or cheating, but it's never quite the same, right? Once you have this beautiful platter, I've always described, to my kids and grandkids, trust, what it means to break trust. It's like this beautiful dish, the most beautiful dish, right? And you love this dish. You serve all your main meals on it because it's so beautiful. Well, one day that dish gets broken. Maybe it gets broken in so many pieces you're not able to put it together again, meaning the trust can't be repaired, right? But maybe it's in enough big pieces that you can glue it back together. You work really hard, you glue it back together, you do your thing and all of that kind of stuff, and it looks good, but you can't use it in the same way. It can't take the same weight. You can't rely on it the same way. You always have to be a little bit careful, right? That's broken trust in different degrees, right, in intensities. So here it looks like the dish was broken in a whole bunch of pieces. Maybe too many to put back together again. This is a general reading. There's hundreds, if not thousands of you watching this, so it's not, of course, going to have the same outcome for some of you, but it definitely looks like whether you remain together or split apart, things are not going to be the same again because you can't rewrite history. Well, you can, but truth is truth, right? Okay. Let's clarify the Nine of Swords in reverse. The Eight of Swords in reverse, right? So feeling trapped, bound, helpless, that's over. That's done. Again, it frees you. And the Wheel of Fortune. Divine timing and orchestration. Either spirit, I think, divine timing and orchestration doesn't mean that spirit always orchestrates the things that happened, but that they allow something to happen because it's necessary, right? Which may be what it is here. The Wheel of Fortune is divine timing and orchestration, things working in the right way at the right time, even if that thing and timing is painful. Why? Because it brings the energy of the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords in reverse. It releases you from being bound, helpless, worried, stressed out all the time. Yeah, the truth, it looks like here, hurt quite a bit, but it releases you. It releases you from that constant worrying, anxiety, and stress and all of that. What if, and what if, and what if that, and what if it doesn't, and what if it does, and all of that kind of stuff. It releases you from it, right? Because now we know. It's all out there. Let's clarify the world. Graduation, leveling up, moving on, new landscape, new opportunities. The Nine of Pentacles, independence, self-sufficiency, self-empowerment. I can rely on myself. I can take care of myself just fine. I don't need to feel like this Five of Pentacles where I'm not enough and I'm not good enough and I don't have enough and all of this. This frees me to move on. Again, whatever the nature of the relationship or the situation, definitely betrayal here, but it allows you to move on into a space where you don't have to rely on somebody else for your own day-to-day needs or your sense of self-esteem and self-value, whether you're physically alone or not. You're enough for yourself. This is somebody who's worked really hard to amass these coins, meaning whatever makes them feel secure and confident and all of that, whether it's finances, money, self-value, all of that kind of stuff, right? And they don't rely on other people for their sense of self and personal security. The Eight of Wands, rapid movement forward, yeah. Looks like a painful way to catapult you into leveling up, but that's what it's done. Let's pull any final guidance, advice, messages for Sagittarius for the first 2 weeks of July. Devil just popped out. Break the cycle. So this was, as some of these cards imply, an ongoing cycle. Maybe suspicion, wondering, asking yourself if you're being paranoid. That's done. That's over. Breaking the cycle. The Devil, yeah, breaking that cycle. The Three of Cups popped out. This is being in people who are way more in alignment with you. Kindred spirits, socializing, but being around people and positive connections in your community that align with who you are, that look at you and go, they're wonderful, right? And vice versa. The World, yeah, moving on, leveling up. The Ten of Swords, betrayal, heartache, and death. I think for many of you, probably not all of you, but for many of you, whatever the situation is, at least now you know, and that knowing frees you. There was some kind of feeling bound and trapped in this situation before with the Devil card, but what has happened, as painful as it is, sometimes we need a painful wake-up call to get it, really get it, but it frees us as well. You know, they say the truth will set you free. It sounds pleasant. It's not always in the actual process, right? It's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. That's a messy process, really, inside that cocoon. So it frees you. You know, it breaks those chains and allows you to move on. And that is strongly what Spirit is recommending. Okay, Sagittarius, those are your readings, your messages for the first 2 weeks of July 2021. I hope, yeah, just like I've said in the past, sometimes you can't say, I hope you enjoyed this reading, because frankly, it looks painful, it looks challenging. The process of leveling up and changing is almost always preceded by conflict and pain and discomfort, but it does free us and enables us to move on. It's sometimes what we need in order to do that. So in that sense, I hope this reading was helpful for you, Sagittarius. Again, if it resonated with you, you'd like to reach out for a personal reading yourself as a gift for someone else, click on the description link below for contact details, that little arrow. Maggie, the number 1 McGuire at gmail.com. I'd be happy to hear from you. Delighted to hear from you. In the meantime, stay safe and well, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.